Let's talk about the Pac-12 making big moves in their TV deal. We've been talking about this for several weeks. We told you exclusively on this show, and as was confirmed by the national media, the Pac-12 has been speaking to TV partners. Fox and ESPN notably are back at the table and talking to the Pac-12, who have now made a bombshell announcement yesterday that they have partnered with Octagon to finalize their TV deal and bring it in. And I think this is a huge step forward. Sources in the TV industry yesterday told me that this signals a TV deal for the Pac-12 conference is in fact close. Most people believe that it'll be ESPN and Fox and some other partner to regionalize the Pac-12 TV deal. Could very well be somebody like a CW, but there is no doubt here that the Pac-12 partnering with Octagon in a public forum, making an announcement, doing a press release, that tells you that the Pac-12 TV deal is close. And Jake, I don't think you can spin it. Yesterday was a very big day for the Pac-12.
Absolutely. And I think that, this move clearly signals that the TV deal is close. I think obviously Octagon has a clear track record of helping different business entities get stuff like this done. And I think that the biggest thing for the Pac-12 is just making sure that this TV deal comes in at a reasonable number. Everyone wants to say or has speculated that, hey, maybe the Pac-12 is going to reach and get, 12 or 13 million a year. I just don't see that happening. I think 10 is the number that we're looking at. 10 would be, a nice round number. I think that would be the top of the mountain that someone would be willing to pay you currently, per school per year. Just because of the brands you have and frankly, the brands you don't have anymore. It's not lost on people that you're going from, a power conference to basically trying to create the best G5 conference out there. And the only question that I really have about this Octagon situation is how long does it take them to get the deal done? Is this something where, we're talking about getting this done before the end of the year, and then you can start Q1 of next year going out and trying to get, the AAC schools or whatever, starting that next play, if you will, an expansion. Like, that's what I think the Pac-12 kind of has to look at here. And to me, you partnered with Octagon to go ahead and close the deal, get it done as soon as you can. That way you can go out and talk about, kind of rounding out the conference, because there's definitely still expansion that needs to happen. But there's no doubt that this is a win for the Pac-12. There's forward momentum.
Absolutely.
They're in a great spot. I'm really curious about, timeline. I would think that the goal would be to try to get this done, and finalized and hammered out before the year's over. That way you can start 2025 on kind of a higher, more positive note with going out and getting more schools to add to the league.
Yeah, and I think Octagon has a massive track record. Octagon is an entertainment behemoth. And I think part of this, the importance of this, is perception versus reality. The overwhelming success of the ESPN, Turner, Warner Brothers Discovery Big 12 announcement, I think you had to announce this as soon as possible. And I think that's why the Pac-12 handled this perfectly, because there's no doubt that announcement from the Big 12 had an impact in the offices of the Pac-12. I'm told there was some surprise that deal came together so quickly for the Big 12. That they were able to get an agreement in place with ESPN and Warner Brothers Discovery that essentially boils down to a licensing agreement between ESPN and the Big 12 to allow ESPN to give their content to Turner at TNT, Warner Brothers Discovery to put Big 12 basketball and football games on TNT. I think this is the absolute necessary next step. I was talking to several people in TV yesterday who believe the necessary number is $10 million a year. The Pac-12, I think, is likely to get a deal that's at $10 million a year. 12 or 15, I'm with you. I just have talked to too many people that say you just don't have the value to deliver that.
Right.
And I think had they gotten UNLV and the Las Vegas market, which I think was just so critical to survival of the Mountain West, I think then you'd be looking at something more than $10 million. I think the problem for the Pac-12 is you have great football brands that play in small markets. and delivering the value required to get more than $80 million a year is going to be very difficult. And then on top of that, you're going to have a deal that is a quid pro quo. Okay, you do this, I'll do that.
Right.
Right? That's what you're essentially saying to ESPN, to Fox, to the CW. Because I think there's no question now that one of the other things that this deal with the Big 12 and ESPN does, it creates a vacuum of football streaming on the ESPN app. Well, I don't think it does, because I think it perfectly aligns with the Pac-12 deal. And they play in very much the same time zones. I was talking again to another guy on TV who's very well positioned in these situations. He said it makes all the sense in the world for ESPN to do business with the Pac-12, especially with brands like San Diego State and Boise State, because that delivers the Pacific time zone for them. It delivers the Mountain time zone for them. And I think it's critically important. I think the next step, once you get that $10 million a year deal, the next step, again, we go back to the AAC. And I cannot find somebody in the AAC or outside of it or in TV or in the know who thinks that the AAC schools are still legitimately in play for the Pac-12.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have commitments from all of these universities to stay in the AAC and to stay in the Mountain West. And I just don't know how you break those agreements, because, again, as we've reported on this show, I am told the agreement in the AAC is binding. The commitment that those universities made to stay is binding. And again, I go back to what Dr. Ed Scott at Memphis said about the Pac-12. I don't know how you get away from the direct, punch in the face that this is from Ed Scott, the AD at Memphis.
If y'all haven't seen the latest reports of what's going on between the Mountain West and the Pac-6, 7 right now, this is a fluid situation, right? So that's the other thing. When we talk about the decision that was made by the University of Memphis to not join the PAC, as I like to call them right now at this time, that was not a binary decision. That was not a no, we're not ever going anywhere. That was based on the offer that was presented in front of us, that we're not taking that offer because we don't think less of ourselves. And
I think that's exactly right.
Yeah.
You lowballed Memphis. And, the funny thing is, I was talking to a bro yesterday who said, you guys play that Ed Scott bite a lot. And we did back in the day. Listen to the first 20 seconds of this bite, and who does he talk about here?
If y'all haven't seen the latest reports of what's going on between the Mountain West and the Pac-6, 7 right now, this is a fluid situation, right? So
who did he mention there?
Yeah.
The Mountain West and the Pac-12.
And what have we talked about so much? Hey, you're not getting away from the fact that you raided the Mountain West to get this done.
And now you're in court and in litigation with the Mountain West. I'll be honest with you, we've played that 40 times, maybe 30 times.
Yeah.
It's so relevant. I've never noticed him mention that before.
And, on top of being in court, I think then it's like, hey, you're in court, you're in litigation, you raided the Mountain West. Now you're lowballing us. We're just not interested in.
But how did they get lowballed? Not only did he not say, well, they offered us too little per year. That's not what he said. He said, I don't know if you've seen the latest with the Pac-12 and the Mountain West. And then he said, and the offer wasn't enough.
Mm-hmm.
Why mention the Pac-12 and the Mountain West and the offer's not enough? Because you don't know that you have access to that money, because you're going to have to pay those poaching fees.
Mm-hmm.
And you lowballed them because you wouldn't give them a large enough part of that pie, because you don't have that to give to the AAC schools. I had never viewed it in that light. The lowball offer wasn't, we're at $7 million a year, or you're going to get $4 million a year. Well, the lowball offer was, we're not giving you any of the jackpot that we realized when the other 10 members of the conference left.
Right.
And why isn't that? Because it's tied up in poaching fees that you're trying to sue to get out of. And again, as I maintain, you're suing to negotiate down.
Which, if we know that, you can be damn sure that he knows that.
And I'll be honest with you, I should have heard him say that. I never paid attention to it until a high-ranking television official yesterday said to me, "You guys play that drop all the time. Have you not noticed him mentioning the Pac-12 and the Mountain West in litigation?" No, I hadn't noticed that.
Maybe it's that Memphis draw. Maybe it's the accent.
But and I'm going to play the whole bite. Listen to it and ask yourself. In the first 10 seconds, he mentions the Pac 6 or 7 and the Mountain West. And then what does he say? He essentially says they lowballed us.
If y'all haven't seen the latest reports of what's going on between the Mountain West and the Pac 6, 7 right now, this is a fluid situation, right? So that's the other thing. When we talk about the decision that was made by the University of Memphis to not join the PAC, as I like to call them right now at this time, that was not a binary decision. That was not a no, we're not ever going anywhere. That was based on the offer that was presented in front of us, that we're not taking that offer because we don't think less of ourselves. And I came here for a reason. You heard me in the press conference. You've heard me in any interview I've done. I'm bullish on Memphis's future. And so I think sometimes we get enamored by the new and we want to take a bad deal. And that deal was not a good deal for the University of Memphis. It certainly wasn't a good deal for our athletic department. And most importantly, it was a really, really bad deal for our Olympic sports.
I think that's exactly right.
I mean, that might be, dude deserves a lot of credit for saying what he needed to say, but saying it in a way that wasn't.
He said the quiet part out loud without saying the quiet part.
And it just, I mean, I can't emphasize enough how much that flew under the radar, man. Like, and maybe we just missed that, but I didn't see a lot of people talking about that at all.
I think it is wild to me.
Like, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, it is wild to me that you have a group of universities that are so good in football. Yeah. And I don't think any of us question that the Pac-12 is a strong football league, right? But they're not good at business, which is why they brought in Octagon.
Yeah.
I think it's a game changer. And I know you guys will say, well, we've never heard of Octagon, Marty. I'm telling you, Octagon's a power player. It's no different than Endeavor. Octagon and Endeavor are competitors, and they're both damn good at what they do.
Mm-hmm.
I think this signals that Octagon and the Pac-12 and the TV partners are ready to put pen to paper and make a deal. I think I was told yesterday that, again, it's going to be very difficult for them to achieve something more than $80 million a year, which is $10 million per school. And there's real concern from TV sources that I spoke to about this Pac-12 conference as a basketball conference. And I think all of that adds up to, I think ESPN's a great partner for the Pac-12 because it gives them a later window and it replenishes their Big 12 inventory. I think it makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah.
And I think that's why Octagon is so publicly involved now, because I think the deal's close.
Yeah.
At least that's what I was told by sources yesterday. And then you add this Ed Scott thing into it. I think it's going to be fascinating to watch this litigation. And does the Pac-12 go back after the AAC members?
And how does the litigation change once the TV deal is done? How does that change, how the Pac-12, views the litigation and what they want out of the litigation? Yeah. And, I mean, once you have a TV deal, does your willingness go up to pay the poaching fee? Do you just want to settle that and be done with that and kind of allow everyone to move forward? Or you know what I mean? So I just think there's a lot of questions about philosophy and how leadership in the Pac-12, the Scott Barneses of the world, Teresa Gould, how these folks are looking at the situation, because you can't stay in litigation forever, man. You can't, your conference needs to be that profitability number, not revenue, but profitability is going to decide if this conference is going to be able to survive long-term. And that's huge. And
funny enough, one of my TV guys is listening to us talk about this right now. And he sent me this story about Comcast. I don't know how many people saw this. Comcast spins off MSNBC, CNBC, and USA as part of a new entity that they will create. Those three members make $7 billion a year in revenue, while Bravo, Peacock, and NBC Broadcast Network and its parties will remain with the parent company. So in the world of streaming, you're like, well, why do we give a crap about Bravo? Well, because if you look at what Bravo, NBC, and Peacock represent, what is that? That is the power streaming arm of NBC. And NBC has made one thing very clear with their streaming platform. We're going after sports. So I think we continue to see the TV game evolve, right? We continue to
follow the money,
restructure our business models. I don't know, like DirecTV. What has DirecTV done? DirecTV has pivoted from, hey, I need you to put a dish on the side of your house, to, hey, look at our streaming service. It is available on all your mobile devices and television.
Finally.
And you look at ESPN's pivot 5 years ago. What are they going to do next fall? They're going to roll out direct to consumer. You don't ever have to have cable again. So you look at the way these major money makers and revenue generators that pay college conferences like the Pac-12 are operating. They are spinning all of this stuff into, we're creating streaming behemoths that make a lot of money so that we can have the best sports in the business. Because that's really what this is about. And Google the other day, I don't know how many people saw the other week, rather, restructuring their streaming priorities for YouTube TV so that you can now get every major sports package, MLB Home Plate, Sunday Ticket, NBA League Pass, NHL Center Ice, all of it will be available on YouTube TV. Everybody's all in on sports. Why do you think Netflix did the Tyson fight the other night?
100 million views.
A wild amount of people watched that fight.
Well, tried to watch that fight.
Thank you.
Tried to watch that fight.
fight.
You know, I mean, it's, you know.
This is all of this to say the Pac-12 is in the exact right position here. I think finally we can say, and I know it's crazy, finally we can say the Pac-12 is doing it the right way. Because if they had continued, and from what I understand, what they did is they had their executive committee talking to Fox, ESPN, different TV outlets, different TV entities.
Yeah.
And I think the message was clear. We're not going to get the deal we want. Let's bring this thing home. Let's go to Octagon. Because
let's stop asking for $1 million when we're worth, $50. Like, let's get it back in alignment.
Because if you go back, let's rewind the clocks.
Yeah.
If you go back to when the Big 12 got their TV deal, who got that TV deal done? The Big 12, their executive committee, and other parties, right? So now you're looking at Bowlesby handing it over to Brett Yormark, and Brett Yormark has only grown their media footprint. And who are they partnered with? They're partnered with Endeavor.
Yeah.
So you look at the Pac-12, and this is one thing that gives me hope about the Pac-12, because up until yesterday, it had been business as usual. George Kliavkoff's putting the hammer down. Business as usual. Until yesterday when they brought in Octagon. You cannot continue to do the same thing and expect a different result.
We're getting somewhere.
If you want a different result, you got to do something different. And that was going to Octagon. And I think it is exactly the right move. They're doing the right things.
Yeah.
And they are lined out now to get a TV deal. If you do this, we'll pay that.
Yeah.
Now you're going to have to go and get, I think probably you need to be at a minimum of 10 members.
Yeah. Because what are they at right now? 9, right?
No. I think they're at, I'm not going to speak out of turn. Because I think they're at 9 members.
Yeah, I believe they're at 9 members.
I am pretty certain. Pac-12. I think that's the next thing.
Yeah.
That's
why this is so important.
You have to get more membership. And I think it is really important that you figure out how to do that. The Pac-12 is Boise, Colorado State, Fresno State, Gonzaga, not football, Oregon State, San Diego State, Utah State, and Washington State. So it is 7 with Gonzaga as a basketball only.
So
you
need
need
the deal done.
You need at least 3 more football members.
Full share
football members.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, to be a conference, you got to have 8 full share members.
But to thrive, I would agree. I think you probably
need 10 full share football members.
Yeah.
And I think you need to add a St. Mary's, or that's why the Grand Canyon thing, I know Pac-12 people got all pissed when I said that. That's why the Pac-12 thing mattered.
Mm-hmm.
It absolutely mattered. All right, let's get some of your comments in here. Again with Calford. My guy. Unbelievable.
Bro.
Calford gifts 10 more Monty Show memberships. Wow. Let's go.
You don't
Absolutely
have a membership
love
at this
that.
point. I don't know what you're
Yeah,
doing.
if you don't have a membership at this point, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know. Arn Kriegbaum doesn't have a membership. Pac-12 should go after North Dakota State and Sac State. Think future and not past. I think Sacramento State would be an excellent addition. The money that they have and the facilities that are coming online.
Yeah.
I think you got to do it. You have to do it. San Diego State, Glenn. The pro rata the Monty Show deserves.
Yeah.
Okay. FCS schools moving to an FBS division have 2-year transition period before officially becoming a member, and it's not cheap. What is it? $5 million at a minimum.
Yeah.
That's just the fee. And then you've got to build infrastructure, which Sac State has. You've got to build infrastructure in facilities, human costs. Like, it's why Vivek Ranadive, the owner of the Kings, saying, hey, Sac State can play basketball at Golden One Center. That's why that's a big deal. Now, would you like it to be on campus? Yes. But downtown Sacramento is not a bad place to play a hoop game. And it's a lovely building. And their football facilities will be, but I think it's awfully difficult. It's awfully difficult now, especially with these letters going out with NIL contracts and guaranteed wages for athletes now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how an FCF school is going to, I mean, dude, it's $1 billion essentially that you're going to spend to play FBS football. I mean, you look at what Sac State's going to do. You got to be at least half a billion, 500 million.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money, man. Do the Dakota schools want that? I highly doubt it. Where does it even come from?
Boosters. That's where it comes from.
But if you're North Dakota, South Dakota, do you have those kind of boosters? At a minimum, $500 million? That's a lot of bread, dude.
Yeah.
And you're going to lose a lot of games. How many games you lose? A lot.
A lot.
It's going to be a lot.
Yeah.
It's tough, man. It is
a lot.
It is without question. Is it possible? Absolutely. Is it likely?
No.
I don't think so. I could be wrong. Jay McClanahan, can the Pac-12 teams afford the House lawsuits money owed next year?
Yeah, it's a big question.
Boise can. San Diego State. Fresno State's a poverty program. That's a state school. That's a real question. What?
You just so casually roll out poverty program, bro.
Duck season.
Program.
Duck season. Crawling up the orifice, duck season.
Well, Washington State poverty program, man.
Yeah.
What's the problem?
Shouty. Good to see you. Damian Fowler, did you see the North Dakota State is getting interest from the Mountain West, or am I wrong? No, that's absolutely true. Absolutely true. Brandon Bootlair, hey.
Great job, dude.
Huge win for
Hell
the
of a
Jazz
job.
last night with that loss.
Hell of a job.
You guys, the Utah Jazz, every Utah Jazz fan, have you ordered your Dalton Connect jersey? You saved your season last night. Like, have you ordered the Dalton Connect jersey yet? Utah Jazz fans. Dalton Connect, the Laker dropping 9 threes last 9 and 12 from
bro. Pause.
What? He saved your season.
This man was a bona fide scrub.
Dalton Connect saved your season last night. That was a huge win. With that loss to the Jazz, to the Lakers, that was a huge win for the Jazz. Brandon Butler.
Doesn't make you feel responsible.
I've had a couple of days of red assery. I got to be honest with you. I'm ready.
Well,
I'm in
you're
Hawaii
on short-timer
already.
syndrome, bro.
I'm in Hawaii
Yeah.
already. I got to be honest. And all this nonsense about, oh, Monty, look at, well, they need Rudy to get on the field. Shut up.
Well, they can call Manti Te'o's girlfriend, man. She'll contribute. You know?
She's dead like Notre Dame's offense.
Yeah.
Like, you guys, like, coming in here and being jackassery about Notre Dame. you know,
Stay hard.
and only Oak State James, the pedophile priest researcher, that's the only guy.
Manti Te'o's in the IPF, so if you want to go and get him and bring him back, you're more than welcome to.
With all the fracking money in the Dakotas, they can easily get.
Okay. Just had to pull up with the fracking take, didn't you?
Oh, so good. So good. Austin Hoover. I live in Notre Dame. We have a lot of money here. Or hi.
Hi,
Notre
Dame.
Stay home at Notre Dame.
There's a little trauma there.
Do you live under the Golden Dome?
You know.
Are you snuggling up to touchdown? Jesus.
I
believe you mean North Dakota. I live in Salt Lake City. I get it. I live in North Dakota. We have a lot of money here. I know you do, but do you have $500,000 laying around just to? Do you guys understand that $500,000 is just so you can kick a football? That doesn't buy you a football. You can probably borrow a football. You know how much dude? It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Texas got old money. Who are you, J.R. Ewing?
You know,
that's a Dallas dude. Okay. Arn, Monty is correct. Fresno has no serious corporate money. They have corporate sense. Yes, they do.